Alright guys, welcome back to another video. Wow, this feels weird to say that. I have been itching to come back and be able to make more videos. Big reason for no uploads or anything is, first of all, my work schedule has been absolutely crazy. You guys have seen that. If you guys have seen my last videos, you guys already know. Had some pretty crazy work stuff happen, mainly just the schedule shift. But and second of all, I ended up getting COVID. Super weird, yeah. I would say it wasn't as bad as a lot of the media has made it out to me, but everyone kind of seems like they have a different reaction. Probably something you don't want to get, but way better now, all over it. But let's jump right into this video and the whole point of this video. First and foremost, should you buy Micro Pro tools? Well, ultimately it's going to be up to you guys, but they were kind enough to send out, some of their best sellers to me, just to, do a little feedback, give them a little opinion. I will be doing a follow-up review on some of this stuff after I've used it. Mainly this video is just to do, kind of a quick little first impression. But two, is this something you might want to consider buying? Is it, professional side of things, maybe more homeowner DIYer, weekend warrior? Obviously everyone's going to have their different opinions, but just a little feedback on, what I think of their stuff and, maybe where they might be able to improve. The guys over at Micro Pro Tools, like I said, were kind enough to send these out to me and just to give them a little feedback. But let's jump right into it. So, yes, I kind of beat everyone to the punch. If you guys saw my Instagram post or my YouTube post, these were all boxed. I could not hold myself as far as opening. So let's go ahead and open these up. So the first thing that we're going to open up is these Allen Keys Hex, whatever you want to call them. Get rid of that. And first impressions, I actually really like the grips. These are kind of like a rubberized coating grip. I thought that's pretty cool that they got their name on it right there. Let me tell you why I actually think these are cool. If you guys have used these in the past, most of the time they're not marked. These are great because you get, at least in my opinion, I'm actually going to be taking these ones to work and leaving the metric set here at the house, taking the fractional, SAE, imperial, however you want to call it. But I like the marking right here. So check this out. Look at this. Why I think this is pretty cool. So this is a 3/16, 7/32, and a 1/4 inch. And the reason I say this is really cool because a lot of the ones that I have, I don't have any folding ones, or I would pull those out. But a lot of the ones that I've had in the past, or even just, the little ones that go in that little case, that little plastic sheath looking thing, anyways, are marked right here. So sometimes they're printed on, sometimes they're laser etched. They get dirty, they just, all the above. And believe it or not, I have yet to figure out, for the life of me, I couldn't find it, and I was trying to find it for this video, but I have one that had it laser etched on the inside part. So when you close it, you couldn't even see it. Don't know if that was on purpose, but moral of the story, I think this is a pretty good buy. If I remember right, the set on these ones is about 25 bucks, which comes with, again, your fractionals. And it goes from, let's see, smallest one you get 5/64, 3/32, 7/64, 64ths, let's see, yeah, 1/8. You get 9/64, 5/32, 3/16, 7/32, and a 1/4 inch. Not bad. I think for 25 bucks, my personal opinion, again, this little rubberized grip is sweet, super comfortable. My personal opinion, I don't think you could go wrong with this. Obviously, it's going to be up to you. metric side of things, let's see. So you get a 1.5, 2, 2.5, a 3, a 4, and 5, 6, and 8. So it does skip that 7, but I'm sure it's not that common. At least I haven't seen it on a lot of like mowers and stuff that I work on. There's a lot of Torx, a lot of hex. Anyways, but I think you can't go wrong with these right here. Again, totally up to you. You know, I'm not saying don't go out and buy it. I'm not saying go out and buy it. Obviously, I think, me personally, if I didn't get these already sent out to me, I would actually buy these. But I know sometimes, you know, it's just a matter of someone actually going over, seeing some of the small stuff like this where it's marked, you know, to make a decision, which, you know, again, that's the biggest reason I started a YouTube channel. You know, sometimes, I mean, for really 25 bucks, I don't think you're ever going to go wrong with it. But, you know, sometimes like small stuff like this, it makes a huge difference when you see these unboxing videos or even reviews. But again, I'm going to be taking the fractional to work and keeping this one here. Super excited about those. So I'm going to put those off to the side. The next thing I wanted to go over, well, I don't need to open it, is this right here. So they do sell this magnetic tray combo kit. It comes with this long one, and believe it or not, these magnets are actually wickedly strong. So you get the little round dish style one, and then you get the rectangular one. If you guys have seen my last, or not my last video, one of my, I think it was like up there with one of the, you know, more newer videos when I started my channel. But in my personal opinion, you can't have too many of these things. These are great, and for multiple reasons. Obviously, you know, being able to keep fasteners. You know, in the past, before I ever bought any of these, I used to put them in, I used to cut like water jugs, those big, huge gallon water jugs, and put my stuff in that, walk, you know, move it around. It obviously sucks because they don't hook onto anything. And let me show you why I think these are pretty cool. So they have these little shields, and they have that little notch right there where they do clip on, and you can, you know, in a sense, tuck it away. When you're ready to use it, it has a little nub right here, and it slides right into that. Let me tell you why I think these are actually really, really cool. Probably shouldn't put that on my wife's brand new car, but let's put it on the grill. So let me just show you why I think this is pretty cool. Because if you guys have ever worked on equipment, you know, 9 times out of 10, the magnet is strong enough to keep it in here. So even if this thing is completely sideways or upside down, it's going to hold it. I think this is a genius idea, because sometimes if you get too many fasteners or too many, you know, you got your sockets in here, extra sockets, they get too heavy and you start stacking them. The magnetization that holds everything starts to get weak, you know, the more you stack on or put in here. And this is cool because it, you know, holds them on, or holds them in here. So you almost got like a, you know, if you had this more at a 90-degree angle right here, this is really cool. I know they make some that are specifically, I think OEM Tools does, but I think that's pretty freaking sweet. And two, you can, again, put that away. Let me show you what I think they could work on. And again, I haven't used these. I'm going to be taking these to work. I love these things for work. You know, again, you just can't have enough of them. This rectangular one works the same way. You got the 2 little notches. So, Michael Pro. My personal opinion, actually, let me go over, I don't think this was intentional or a feature per se. It's got this thin little rubber piece that covers the magnet. I don't know if that was intentional or not, but let me show you something. Yep, that's a great example. This is a US General. I have the green one, and I even have a Made in China Pittsburgh from Harbor Freight. These are the Matco ones. You can actually see the magnets in here. These aren't very strong, but they're kind of nice for that reason that they're soft. But let me show you, I don't think this is intentional, and why I think it's actually really cool. Most of the ones that I have and I've seen have a hard rubber around here. So they're either glued on, which I know this doesn't sound like a big deal, and these are not glued on. They're not coming off, I can tell you that. But let me tell you, I think this is really cool. If you guys have ever used these out in the field or really just anywhere, they get rocks, small pieces of, like this is, I cleaned this one as best as I could, but look at this. Just small little pieces of iron that's in the dirt and stuff. Let me tell you, it is a pain in the butt to get off. And for those of you guys that may work in a shop, I would never encourage you to put those on your customers' vehicles. You know, obviously you can scratch paint and stuff, but I think that's so cool because you can take it off and the magnet isn't holding it on the outside edge of this, and you can actually clean them. I think that's pretty nifty. But in my humble opinion, let me tell you where I think these could use some rethinking. So first of all, the little hinges right here that hold this on are pretty thin, right? And for those of you guys that are hard on your stuff like I am, especially with these get, you know, tossed around the box and stuff. I do have a little mobile setup for work. It's just a toolbox that I take with me when I'm working on stuff and don't necessarily want to go back to my truck back and forth. But look, if you guys can see, let me show you on this one. These clip on, it's just a little tab right here, and you can actually just pull that over, right? So it makes it nice because if you just completely want to get rid of it, you can. But let me tell you where I think this is really, really thin. And the reason I say you might run into some issues, if you drop this on the corner, I guarantee you this is going to break, right? What I think they could have done, and it would fix this problem, you know, you wouldn't have the luxury of being able to, you know, fold it over like this, which I don't think is going to be a big deal. If they made something that slid on over the bottom and caught the lip on the back side right here, and it was just one unit, one piece, right? One, you know, you got the edge, the lip, but it slid on over the bottom right here, almost like this slides onto the magnet. And even if it covered this whole thing, but that way you can make it, you know, thicker, and it end up being a little bit more heavy duty. Because if you drop this, I mean, there's no way on this green earth that, I mean, even at a few feet, I don't want to do it for the sake of that, but I could see that being a problem. But, you know, in my opinion, it should be a pretty easy fix. Again, something that slid over this, the bottom part, to hold that edge. So Michael Pro, you know, maybe reconsider the way this is attached here, because again, if this falls, chances are it's going to fall like this, right? If this breaks, you won't be able to use that anymore. So my personal opinion. The next thing that I got from them was this little 3/8 service, I call it a service set, but it's just a little ratchet set. Let's see. Yes, that knife is that sharp. It's crazy. So first impressions, I actually think this is really cool for multiple reasons, and let me tell you why. So I thought that is pretty cool, and let me tell you why I think this is really cool, because look, this is actually holding all the stuff in there. I mean, obviously it's not gonna, you know, you're not gonna be able to shake the crap out of it and hold it, but that's pretty freaking neat that it holds these sockets in here pretty well, believe it or not. And I like that it has everything marked. I guess I could kind of see why, but the only thing I was wondering why, I'm not the biggest fan of 12-point sockets. You know, chances of rounding off fasteners are a lot higher, especially if you don't need a 12 point. You know, if you just got a 6-point fastener and you throw a 12 point, it's going to work. Obviously, you got a little more versatility with 12 points because you can use it on a handful of stuff. But first impressions, this is their 3/8 drive low profile ratchet. If you guys have not used one of these are actually really cool, and let me tell you why. This looks a lot like the Power Torque that you can get from O'Reilly's, which I'm assuming they're made by the same manufacturer, or like the same, you know, people that makes them for Michael Pro probably makes them for them. But I've actually owned a ratchet just like this, and it was freaking awesome. I put cheaters on this thing, and it hasn't broke. You know, being low profile, it's not serviceable from what I can see as far as, you know, being able to pop this out. But in my opinion, I don't think you're going to hopefully not need to do that. But this is actually super, super thin. The only thing I even have that's comparable to it is, let's see. Here's a great example. So this is the Matco 3/8. If you can see how thin that is, let's see if I can get a good side by side here. Not only is the head on the ratchet thinner than the, you know, if you really wanted to, you could pull out a micrometer, but just eyeballing it, it's a little bit thinner. But two, if you were to lay these flat on the ground, let me just show you something. This anvil actually is lower than the Matco one, and from what I've seen, these Matco ones seem to be the thinner ones, or I guess lower profile, whatever you want to call it. So I think that's pretty cool. And let me tell you, I'm actually going to put this in my wife's car, in the where the spare tire goes, just, you know, as an emergency roadside kit. I think this is a pretty cool buy. If I remember right, it's about $40. Or $50, I don't remember, but in my personal opinion, for $50 for, you know, 1/4 inch to 3/4 inch on the fractional side, and from an 8mm to an 18mm, you can't go wrong. And it comes with one extension, a little 3-inch extension. Pretty cool. And the next one I'm going to, just trying to make this video as short as possible, is their Ratchet 3/8 ratchet with a light. Yes, you heard that right. It's got a light right there. And the way you turn it on, it's got a little battery. You know, I'm assuming when you screw that down, because if you look at it, it says turn to the right. To turn it on and turn it off, turn it to the left. So I'm assuming it's just got a little battery in there with the contact. So when you turn it and tighten it down, it makes that connection. Yep, there we go. Let me tell you my first impression on this, and why I think it could be a good idea, and where I think it could probably use some improvement. But I mean, as far as these go, if you guys can see these sockets, just so you guys can get a better idea, I mean, they seem like pretty quality made sockets, honestly. You know, for, you know, the chrome vanadium, chrome finish on them is actually pretty nice, really nice actually, and they're pretty thin walled, which is actually a good thing, you know, if you're looking for that. But let me just show you guys something. So this is my lawnmower. This is a 10mm fastener right here on the valve cover. And I am pulling out a deep and a short just to show you guys for this purpose of this video. So this is the light. You know, if it probably could turn off some light. So it's a little bit of a blue light, which I don't know if that was done on purpose or if it just ends up looking that way once you get it on here. But I really like the idea of this. The ratchet itself seems like a little bit higher tooth count, or lower tooth count, I mean. That low profile one I do know is pretty, you know, a little bit on the higher end. You know, I don't really know the exact specs on it, but, you know, if I had to give it a range, you're probably right around there from 70 to 80 tooth count. This one seems like a little bit, you know, more coarse tooth count, but when I was talking to Michael Pro Tools, they sent this out to me because I do work from 2 a.m. to, you know, noonish, 1ish in the afternoon. So when I do services on a lot of the equipment, holy smokes, that's on there tight. Probably shouldn't be. You know, having that little light can be a big deal. Which my first impressions, I'm a little torn on this. Michael Pro, I hope you're watching and maybe see why I think it could use some improvement. First and foremost, this button is plastic, which, you know, I think it's a $25 ratchet. I think at the price point, you know, that's probably why. But I worry that, you know, hitting it somewhere, gall up the threads, and plastic threads do not last forever. So, yeah, my personal thought on this, a little more on the gimmicky side, but, you know, as far as the way it's set up, if you guys have never used a locking ratchet, like little push button ratchet right here, my worry is with as wide as that light is right there, that it may compromise the integrity of the anvil right here. So look, let me just show you what I'm talking about. So look how small the hole is on that, right? So you still got a lot of meat right here on the edge. This one is approaching the almost too thin. My personal opinion, you know, obviously make a call on it. I think the light could have been a little brighter. I actually am torn because I think the idea of this is really cool. You know, as far as that goes, you know, your call on that, Michael Pro. If you guys could put a little bit brighter light in there somehow, and two, maybe even doing like a ring style right here on the faceplate instead of doing the push button right here, because, you know, like I said, I'd be worried about a little bit about the integrity of the anvil right here, but maybe doing a ring style like a lot of the, you know, like cordless tools are, and that way it eliminates this button right here, and you know, you wouldn't have to have a plastic one. So my personal thoughts on this, I think for 25 bucks, you know, obviously it's your call. I'm a little torn again because I like the idea of this. I think this could be really, you know, something you could hit out of the park as far as the idea goes. I just think, you know, some improvements could be made on the button right here, getting rid of it completely and just doing a regular style ratchet, and, you know, making a ring around it, something like that. But yeah, that's my personal opinion on it. The reason I pulled out a long socket is when you put a little bit longer fastener on there, it makes the light smaller. It's kind of like when your flashlight, when you can make it a, you know, wide beam, not so wide beam. And last but not least, their wrenches. This is the one thing I'm actually excited about. Yes, you heard that right. I might have to set this down, guys, so bear with me. I'm gonna get a tripod. First impressions, let me tell you, I think these are freaking sweet. And I'm gonna go into why I think they are going to be a pretty cool buy. So first impressions, these things are actually super nice. They do have that zero offset right here. If you guys have never used a wrench with the zero offset or where it goes down a little bit like this, it's a big deal. I mean, sometimes that's the difference of clearing a fastener in a tight area. But let me tell you why I think these are actually really cool. So let me pull out the 3/4 because then I can just show you on the casters on my, right? So the open inside, I mean, you can put quite a bit of torque on that. But let me tell you why I think this is really cool. So if you're using the side with, you know, the closed end side, they turn these wrenches so you can actually, in my opinion, put it in an area where you get more torque, more leverage on it. That is freaking sweet. I'm going to be taking these to work, but first impressions, I think these are dynamite purchase. Michael Pro, you guys killed it on these in my opinion. Looking forward to be able to give you guys a review, a future update on these. But for now, I'm out. Peace.